It's been what they call a historic event. But to be really historic, we have to do a great job. And I promise you that I will not let you down. While the campaign is over, our work on this movement is now really just beginning. We're going to get to work immediately for the American people. And we're going to be doing a job that hopefully you will be so proud of your president. It's my honor. It was an amazing evening. It's been an amazing 2-year period. And I love this country. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The president-elect of the United States of America. I could say that all day long. Maybe I will. Joining me now on the panel as we await remarks by Barack Obama, whose legacy, by his own definition, is now basically MUD. We are joined by Bre Payton, staff writer for The Federalist, and Stacy Washington, host of Stacy on the Right show. And make sure to check out stacyontheright.com. Stacy, it happened.
Good morning, Steve. It has been a roller coaster up till 3:30 a.m. Central Time last night. Listening to the returns, flipping between CNN and Fox News on radio while I was monitoring online. And I have to say the liberal tears are sweet and delicious. And I want to make sure I'm on the record on Newsmax with your huge audience as saying this is not about a white lash or white voters or rural white people. It's about Americans, black, white, Hispanic, every stripe, people who are tired of the Obama administration and are afraid of the continuation of that legacy going forward with Hillary Clinton, tired of her criminality, tired of the lies, and tired.
Oh, we just lost somebody. Who did we lose, guys? We lost Stacy. Okay, Bre, welcome back, and your reaction to what we witnessed last night.
Sure. Obviously, I was quite stunned throughout this entire time. I think I've said on your show that I didn't think he was going to win. So obviously, I was taken by surprise with the results as they were coming in last night. However, I think, the larger story or the kind of takeaway that I had from this is that I think women are just really tired of being told what to be offended about, right? So I think going into October, all that leaked audio that came out about Donald Trump saying those kind of gross things about women and grabbing and yada, yada, whatever, the kind of overreaction, the fainting couch reaction, all the smelling salts that were dispelled in order to handle,
right,
his comments, I think we're just overwrought. And I think now we are seeing, hey, guys, guess what? We don't really need to be offended by everything all the time.
I agree with you. Here's the President of the United States reacting to the election. Let's join in and watch as he approaches the podium.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yesterday, before votes were tallied, I shot a video that some of you may have seen in which I said to the American people, regardless of which side you were on in the election, regardless of whether your candidate won or lost, the sun would come up in the morning. And that is one bit of prognosticating that actually came true. The sun is up. And I know everybody had a long night. I did as well. I had a chance to talk to President-elect Trump last night, about 3:30 in the morning, I think it was, to congratulate him on winning the election. And I had a chance to invite him to come to the White House tomorrow to talk about making sure that there is a successful transition between our presidencies. Now, it is no secret that the President-elect and I have some pretty significant differences. But remember, 8 years ago, President Bush and I had some pretty significant differences. But President Bush's team could not have been more professional or more gracious in making sure we had a smooth transition so that we could hit the ground running. And one thing you realize quickly in this job is that the presidency and the vice presidency is bigger than any of us. So I have instructed my team to follow the example that President Bush's team set 8 years ago and work as hard as we can to make sure that this is a successful transition for the President-elect. Because we are now all rooting for his success in uniting and leading the country. The peaceful transition of power is one of the hallmarks of our democracy. And over the next few months, we are going to show that to the world. I also had a chance last night to speak with Secretary Clinton, and I just had a chance to hear her remarks. I could not be prouder of her. She has lived an extraordinary life of public service. She was a great First Lady. She was an outstanding senator for the state of New York, and she could not have been a better Secretary of State. I'm proud of her. A lot of Americans look up to her. Her candidacy and nomination was historic and sends a message to our daughters all across the country that they can achieve at the highest levels of politics. And I'm absolutely confident that she and President Clinton will continue to do great work for people here in the United States and all around the world. Now, everybody is sad when their side loses an election. But the day after, we have to remember that we're actually all on one team. This is an intramural scrimmage. We're not Democrats first. We're not Republicans first. We are Americans first. We're patriots first. We all want what's best for this country. That's what I heard in Mr. Trump's remarks last night. That's what I heard when I spoke to him directly, and I was heartened by that. That's what the country needs. A sense of unity, a sense of inclusion, a respect for our institutions, our way of life, rule of law, and a respect for each other. I hope that he maintains that spirit throughout this transition, and I certainly hope that's how his presidency has a chance to begin. I also told my team today to keep their heads up, because the remarkable work that they have done day in, day out, often without a lot of fanfare, often with a lot of attention, work in agencies, work in obscure areas of policy that make government run better and make it more responsive and make it more efficient and make it more service-friendly so that it's actually helping more people. That remarkable work has left the next president with a stronger, better country than the one that existed 8 years ago. So win or lose in this election, that was always our mission. That was our mission from day one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a little trouble with the feed, but we're rejoined by our panelists, Bre Payton and Stacy Washington. Stacy, your impressions listening to the president, who, of course, just a couple of days ago said that Donald Trump embraced the endorsement of the KKK, was unqualified to be president, and, you know, had harsh rhetoric for Donald Trump right on down the line.
President Obama had really harsh rhetoric for Hillary Clinton as well when they were in their primary fight for the Democratic nomination back in 2008. And afterwards, they came together somewhat. We're now learning more about that coming together in the WikiLeaks Podesta email dumps. And so I honestly believe that the impression that was made on him by President George Bush's smooth transition will be something that he'll try to emulate, because President Bush has been so wildly popular after he left the White House for his treatment of President Obama, even though they had significant policy differences and continue to have to do so to this day. So I do believe President Obama will emulate that. And as you know, it is my policy, if I can find something good to say about him, because I am so very critical of his policies, that I will trumpet anything that he does well. And I think the speech that he just made was indicative of a person who understands they're on the way out and needs to make a lasting impact on their legacy by doing a good job of transitioning. I applaud him for actually standing as an adult and a leader of the free world and offering a good speech today on behalf of the presidency towards President-elect Donald Trump.
What about it, Bre? What struck you in the president's remarks?
I thought it was incredibly kind and gracious, and I hope that, you know, the words and the kind of tone and tenor that he expressed in those remarks and in that speech, I hope that he really does carry that through the transition and continues to be kind and gracious to Donald Trump and his team. And, you know, he really is right that we are all rooting for the same side now, and regardless of how we felt about Donald Trump a couple months ago or even last night, we are all now rooting for his success.
Let me ask you, Stacy. I mean, you've been in the heat of the battle on other networks as well, where they tell you to be quiet and don't talk about this, don't talk about that. The shock on the faces, the words, they went nuts. And in my Give Me Five later, I'm going to play some of the examples of how nuts they went in the media and the aftermath. Even when it appeared Trump was going to win. What's the future, do you think, of, I mean, every poll after poll after poll has shown that the Americans do not trust the media. How do they recover from this? How do they recover from the WikiLeaks revelations? I'm a hack, John Podesta, here's my story. Here's another story to Jennifer Palmieri. Whether it's CNBC, whether it's CNN. Donna Brazile, does she stay as the head of the DNC after she was caught cheating and on multiple occasions? How do all these people go on from here?
Well, the one good silver lining, the golden thing about this, besides the fact that Donald Trump won, obviously, is that he activated a huge segment of America that had previous to this point been silent and unrepresented by both parties. And so if you include those voters along with all of the Americans who have been so disgusted with the media and their treatment of Republican and conservative candidates and pundits, we've already seen a shift in viewership on some of the major cable networks. I think that will continue. Americans will find new homes for their news, like Newsmax and others who are independent and offering up true, unbiased reporting. And the media will have to respond. Some of them, we might see the end of headline news. We might see the end of some of these larger outlets. Some consolidation, perhaps, some changing around of who's in charge of certain shows, who's the chief talker, and that will be for the good. So I'm looking forward to that. And I hope that people on CNN who spent time trying to silence voices on the right like myself will take this referendum as a statement that can no longer be. The fourth estate should be neutral and doggedly reporting on both sides, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, well, Bre, I already heard some of the folks on CNN last night talking about how apparently the voters heard Donald Trump's message, but weeded out all the hate. Weeded out all the racist things, weeded out and put that aside. So they still don't get it, because what they consider the hate and the racist things are things that drove a lot of people, including building a wall, including not letting more Syrian refugees into this country, right on down the line. So talk about what you think, and then I'm going to ask you another question about how some Republicans that, stayed away and had nothing to do with Trump, how they react. But Bre, talk about the media and what they do to to get any credibility back whatsoever.
Well, I think, in the wake of Donald Trump's victory, we have seen them kind of double down along these lines. And I think a lot of the coverage coming out of the results of this election has been similar to the coverage that we've heard from overseas about Brexit, right? That Brexit won by an overwhelming majority, and yet the media continually says, oh, this is a racist, xenophobic, tiny majority that somehow took over the entire country and is now veering it on this collision course, right? So I think the media is going to double down, but I think that by doing that, they're doing themselves a disservice. I think that, if they continue to do that, everyone will see that they really don't know what they're talking about, and that they are so insulated in this kind of beltway echo chamber. So I think that, in order to make it right with the American people, I think that there does need to be a reckoning. However, I'm wary that reckoning will ever come, unfortunately.
Right. All right. So, Stacy, before I get to Hillary Clinton and what happens to her next, and the foundation next, and everybody, all that, what happens to, we saw Paul Ryan today. A few days ago, he said he voted for Donald Trump. Today, he, spoke out and was very happy about Donald Trump, obviously. So can, all these people who, columnists, pundits, conservatives, quote unquote, Republicans, quote unquote, who are just dead set against the Donald Trump presidency, would vote for anybody else, not Hillary, but any third party candidate, or write in a name. Can they, what's their future going forward for 4 years?
Well, a lot of the people who were a part of the Never Trump movement are individuals that I respect greatly, and it was very difficult for me to see them stand against the nominee when they didn't do the same against Mitt Romney or John McCain. And there were some very, very harsh words that were exchanged between Never Trumpers and people who were supporting the nominee. I don't know that all of them are going to make it through this unscathed, because the nature of some of the comments and the accusations that were made towards people who were supporting Donald Trump were so spurious and so vile. There's going to be some payback for that. Not from me, but I've already seen some people discussing how they're done with certain individuals. They're not going to read their writing, or they're not going to place value on their opinions and their analysis. That being said, you have to at least at this moment stop and pay homage to the fact that this man was basically castigated and told over and over and over again that he had zero coattails, that he would destroy the Republican Party, he would destroy the Senate majority,
Right.
he would actually lose the House, and instead his coattails are so large, so expansive. We have record, not just majorities and control of all three parts of the government, but on the local level, the governors,
Yep. Three more governors were picked up. 33 governors now on the Republican side.
amazing.
Yeah, Bre,
Yeah.
again, what are you hearing? I mean, many of your colleagues that you know, not saying at the Federalists necessarily, but many of the colleagues that you know were Never Trumpers. What do they do now?
Yeah, that's a great question. As someone who was very skeptical and is still skeptical of Donald Trump and whether or not he will make a good president, towards the end, though, I did start to come around and realize that a lot of the criticisms being lodged against him were rather hyperbolic in their nature, and, did ignore a lot of the issues that Donald Trump does raise. Whether we like it or not, he is talking about issues that are largely being ignored, like immigration reform and the like. So, I do think that it's time for the Never Trumpers, as well as the regular kind of mainstream media, to realize, hey, maybe we're not talking about things that people want to hear about. Maybe we're spending way too much time on, hyper focusing on Donald Trump's crazy comments or whatever, instead of covering what's going on our southern border and the like. So I think, in the wake of this, I think there just needs to be an adjustment in terms of mindset, and I would hope that people would come away from this being more open-minded and more receptive to the issues that Donald Trump has been raising on the campaign trail.
Let me give you about 30 seconds each. Stacy, what happens to Hillary Clinton? Does she, with the new Justice Department, if she's not pardoned, will she be pardoned? Will she face prosecution? Does she just go away with her husband? And what happens to the foundation? Lots to answer in 30 seconds.
I honestly believe that she can't be pardoned unless she's first indicted. I don't think any of that happens under the current Obama administration. I don't know that Donald Trump will follow through on his statement that he would put her in jail or prosecute her. But it sends a horrible message to the American people that she goes free while others are being imprisoned for less than what she did with her email.
Yep. Bre?
Yeah, I hope that he does follow through and appoint a special prosecutor, because I think it's pretty clear that the FBI director, James Comey, doesn't know what the heck he's doing. So I think that would be a good change, and I hope that he does follow through and do that.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate both of you, and I appreciate you standing by through Barack Obama's statement there. Bre Payton, Stacy Washington, we will speak very soon. Thank you both.